right, let's go. Episode 16, Hear Me Out
Brandon,
podcast. I'm Eric.
Donovan.
I love the weekend
All
together,
right,
man.
that's
That's
good,
old
man.
school right there.
Let,
I love that.
Uh, yeah,
Let's
let's
get it.
go. So let's do best thing that happened this week. Donnie, you want to go
the Hawks
first?
got a playoff seed. That's obviously the best thing that happened this week. What are we
Jay
talking
Easy.
about? Really? Come on. Best thing that happened this week. It's gonna sound weird to some people, but I actually had a good conversation with my counselor. So I had a chance to link with her, and we had a really good session. So that was actually good.
Nothing like positive communication.
That's awesome.
Love that.
Yeah, I love hearing that one. There we go.
Best thing
Brandon.
that happened to me this week occurred today, man. So I have three daughters. I'm a big sports guy. Played most sports growing up. And there was a large part of my fatherhood experience that I thought was going to be missing because none of my kids were actively engaged in sports. But today, as I'm leaving the field, they're walking kind of arms around each other side by side with their baseball packs on and their bats, hanging out. And I'm watching my two athletes walk out the park. And, man, gotta love fatherhood, man. I tell you what, it felt great to see that. So that was the best thing that happened to me this week. Lifelong fatherhood dream achieved in my sport. So I love
That's
it.
awesome, man. I love it. That kind of stole my thing
My
there.
kids,
I was definitely gonna use. I definitely was
I
gonna
get
use
first
that.
thoughts. First
Yeah, I mean
thoughts.
they're your kids, but I definitely enjoyed. I definitely enjoyed
Yeah, awesome,
the
man.
games as well. So off the top of my head, then I'm gonna say WNBA season starts tomorrow. Atlanta Dream are playing tomorrow. That'll be. I'm gonna give that the best thing that happened, but with an asterisk because your daughter's thing, their games today and the day before
Yeah,
actually were really my highlights or whatever because seeing those girls play at a very
yeah,
very high
true game.
level was amazing or whatever, especially those games Wednesday. They played
Yeah,
amazingly so. Shout out
it was great.
to those Striggles girls.
Shout out to them.
All right. I love it. I love it. It's all about family here. It's all about the family. All right. So uh, next topic is unemployment benefits
Ooh,
versus the unfilled jobs. Donnie, you want to kick that one off?
Sure. Yeah.
No, you don't, because that's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me. It's supposed to be me that's kicking it off, not you. That was my mistake. There we go. Luckily, we can edit, but I'm not going to edit this out. Let my mistakes just run. Just let them run. All right. So, unemployment benefits versus the unfilled jobs. What we've seen a lot of in the news is that Republicans specifically are saying that there's all of these unfilled jobs out there. The jobs numbers came back last week, and there was a dip. It didn't go up like they were anticipating that it would. And what the Republicans are saying is that the money that additional money, that additional $300, that additional bump that the federal government is providing because of COVID has made it impossible for people to, or not made it impossible, made it so that people did not want to go back to work because they're making more on unemployment than what they would do with some of these minimum wage jobs. Now, I think Donnie, you did some back of the napkin math the other day, and one of the things you said was basically $7.50 an hour over 40 hours equals how much,
Well, I
Donnie?
did it a little bit easier. It was more like 8 times 4, right? So it'd be a little easier to do.
Got to put
30,
that decimal in there.
$320
Got
right
to
now.
carry numbers now. Like,
So,
Yeah, man. I don't know. I didn't do that.
so,
So just round it up. $8 an
so,
hour times 40 hours a week is $320. You're getting 500. Stay home, drive for Uber. Let's go. Make it happen. Let's go.
right. And and for me, that kind of segues into another situation where or another adjacent issue or an adjoining issue, and that's the fact that if people are making $320 a week or whatever, that's not enough to feed a family on. That is below the poverty line, and the minimum wage has not increased since 2009, where it went from 6.55 to $7.25, and since 2009, inflation has quintupled or whatever. So and the cost of living has increased dramatically across the country, but the federal minimum wage has not. So it makes me say, well, does unemployment seem right now for those people is the only thing that's keeping those families above water? And here in Georgia, Governor Deal, who I'm not a fan of,
no, not Governor Deal. Governor
and
Kent,
I'm
son.
sure everybody who watches this knows.
You went back like
I mean Governor Kemp.
you
Ooh, sorry,
went back just a
Governor
little bit, yeah.
Governor Kemp.
I don't know. You might not care for
I don't
Governor
I
Deal
don't know
either. I
how
don't know
far
if you know
how I went.
Nathan like that, but I mean,
Yeah, no, I didn't like Nathan Deal either, and I definitely don't like Brian Kemp. But what he's doing is he's getting rid of the federal money as of end of June, I think is what he said today, and as a way to force people back into the work world, into those underpaying jobs, which is to me feels cruel, unusual, but very much like something that Kemp would do. Just not very well thought out, not worried about improving things for people, just trying to keep the status quo as is par for the course for him.
well, I'll play the role this week. So I look at this a little differently, or I look at it split. I completely understand like both the position you guys are saying that why wouldn't they not stay at home when obviously they're going to make more money? And yes, to your point, Eric, a lot of these jobs, which are now so crucial, so why are the wages so low, right? 7.25, 7.55, whatever you said, minimum wage. I also agree with that. But then somebody asked me the other day. They said, "Well, so do you think the minimum wage should be $15, $17 an hour?" And I was like, "No, I don't." And they're like, "Well, explain yourself." I was like, "Well, my brother-in-law works in the food services industry, right?" And he was like, "A lot of those jobs traditionally, in some of the lower paying areas like food service or hospitality or whether it's cleaning rooms or whatnot, but specifically in food service, a lot of those jobs were held by teenagers, right? First-time jobs for a lot of people. They weren't meant to be living wages to support family." So I was having a conversation with my wife. I was like, "Well, what's changed in this world to where now you might see 30 or 40-year-olds in those roles, to where obviously now that 7.55 seems like a ridiculous pay if you're a grown person trying to have any kind of life or support any type of family." So I think there's different levels to this thing, and once again, are we focusing on the symptom? Are we focusing on the disease? Like what's really going on? Because I don't think there should be like a standard minimum wage of $15 or $17 an hour. A lot of those jobs aren't meant to be employed by people that have 3 or 4 kids. I don't know. I don't think it's as cut and dry. But I certainly understand somebody say, "Well, I can go to work and bust my ass and get 300, or I could take this right now and get 500, actually get ahead, and do that." I mean, I understand it. I'm not saying I agree or disagree with it, but I certainly understand it. So do you guys think there should be a $15 or $17 an hour minimum wage?
No, I don't. For the exact same reason that you're saying is because once you start implementing that rate or that wage, it goes for everybody. 15 as soon as you can start working, right? So do you want your 15? Mean like yeah, you're still in control of your 15-year-old's finances a little bit depending on how you run your house, right? But do you want them necessarily getting? I don't think they should get the same. Let me back up because of like you said, younger people working. I don't think that it should be that high of a rate, right? And so, like what you were saying about how it's designed, uh, I think some of the older people should get a higher rate than the people with no experience. Is if you go into any job, right? If I go into a job and I don't have any experience, you might start me at the bottom tier, and then I could go up a little bit higher. So if these people are in the food service industries, which they can make really good money, by the way, depending on where they're working
Yeah.
at. Um, they're going to have a little bit more experience, and their wage should be a little bit higher than that 750, right? But do I think it should be $12 and $15? No.
You know,
Well, I I believe the opposite, and so I definitely believe that at a minimum, the minimum wage should be set at somewhere between $15 to $17 an
across
hour,
the board
Why
for
those
um,
numbers?
everybody.
Why those numbers?
and it doesn't. Well, so the reason for the numbers, that's a great question, Donnie. The reason for those numbers is because that would put it on par with how much inflation has moved since 2006 or 2005 or whatever. So when you marry the rate of inflation, cost of living adjustment with the minimum wage, typically throughout history it has followed that same thing. Then it followed that same principle. Then it split. It started to split in the 60s, and then once we got to the 90s, it started to pair off even further. And then once we got into the 2000s, it had completely gone away from that or whatever. So if you tie cost of living to the minimum wage, it should follow that curve, and it's not been doing that. So it's a complete divergence in path. So that's one thing. And then Brandon, you asked, well, what changed? Why should it go up there? Cost of milk, cost of anything else has all increased or whatever, but the minimum wage has not. So it makes it more expensive just to buy a bowl of cereal, just to have cereal and milk in the house or whatever. So that's one thing. The other thing that changes, especially during this time period, is with Republicans saying they want to cut that $300, that additional $300 out of unemployment. Then that is going to force people who were typically much higher earners into a work world and into positions that are much lower than what they should be
Also,
getting. So they don't actually have experience in food service. So what you look at is let's say you've got somebody who was a marketing person or some other thing, right? Some other role. They lost their job during COVID or whatever. They've been working and haven't been able to find a job in their field and these are adults who had been paid adults. And at this point, they haven't been able to find a job. So when you cut off that $300, it's going to force them to go get work, to go get money somewhere or whatever. So you're going to force them into it may force some of those folks into these minimum wage jobs. So they're not going to so they're going to end up still making right at around $300 a month. I mean, $300 a week or whatever to try and handle their expenses until they can find another job. If you set a federal minimum wage at $15 an hour, at least you're doubling the amount
that
that
goes back to what I
these
was
people
saying
are
though about
making.
there's layers to it. So I never understood how, let's say you're a marketing person, a marketing analyst. Let's say you make 85 grand a year, right? And let's say you work a job where you're, I don't know, a courier or something, and you make $28,000 a year. I don't understand how the maximum unemployment does not equate to that difference, right? Like I think that's a broken structure. That's one of those things. So I think once
Completely
again,
agree.
COVID has opened up our eyes and kind of exposed so many cracks to way things are structured in this country or in general with laws that I think there's so much stuff that needs to be looked at and addressed, and I think that's one of them. You can't tell me that the guy who's making 85 and the guy that makes 28, when they get unemployed, they get the same amount of benefits. Like, how does that work? Like, that's what throws everything off. So
So then you also have to think about that we're talking federal, right? So we're talking all 50 states, right? So the cost of living in Iowa, North Dakota, South Dakota is going to be slightly lower than DC, New York, you know what I'm saying, Atlanta. So we're basing this intel off of living in Atlanta. Whereas if I'm living in the middle of Nebraska, $8 an hour, I might be good. You know what I'm saying? Because we're not talking high rent. We're not, so there's a lot of things that have to go into this when you're talking federal government. So if you go to $15 an hour, that's $31,000 a year. That's what that total salary would be. The starting teacher average salary for a teacher, depending on where you are, is 35 to 57. So that's a 4-year degree. That's loans. That's
yeah.
all that stuff, and you're only making maybe $4, $4,000 more than someone who has no degree.
Once again, why are
So
teachers so underpaid?
those things would also play into it, right? Because you got to think about, when we say starting salary, if you're doing national minimum wage of $15, that's that person in Iowa, that person in some podunk town in Ohio making $31,000, but yet that teacher that went to school that has to teach those kids in that county are only making 35,000.
Good point.
So then we look at a couple of other things related to teaching, right? So and you guys definitely are, have way more experience with teaching or whatever than I do, especially salaries and things like that, right? But here's my question: teachers work for 9 months, right?
Yes,
Not and some
Like
change, yeah.
the school year is like
right.
9 months. Does the pay go across the year over 12 months, or is it for
Yes,
nine
so it goes
months?
across 12 months.
The so it's stretched across 12 months, which actually makes it even worse. So so then we look at, well, why are teachers getting paid so low? Because that is definitely like, if teachers are essential workers, which they were, and which they are, and food service workers are essential workers, which during the pandemic it's been identified that they are, then why are they paid so low? That's my problem, right? Like, we shouldn't be adjusting down because teachers make such a low amount. What we should be doing is adjusting up, saying, well, teachers, they do a job that's worth so much more, and they truly are, teaching the future or whatever. So that amount that they get paid should go up. We shouldn't be pushing it
Well,
pushing
that's what
it
I'm saying.
down.
Like,
That doesn't make
there's so many
sense.
things to address. You could throw firemen and police officers into that as well. A lot of civil service jobs. So
Agreed.
I mean, yeah, there's a lot to look at. So I'm not saying I think that the federal benefits should be stripped away, and people should lose that support. I don't agree with the minimum wage being $15 and $17 across the board. Like, I don't necessarily agree or disagree with that. I think there's lots of things to consider and look at and to be adjusted. Like every other issue in this world, right? You can't look at it just from one angle. All very good points. Well done, gentlemen.
So, so do we have any solutions? Anybody have any
Yes,
thoughts on solutions? How about
absolutely.
that?
Marry rich.
Hey, man,
That's
I'm
all I
gonna tell
got.
you this right now. My uncle told me two things. One of which I can't repeat because all 32 people might see it. But the other one is, and this is true. He says you can marry more money in a minute than you can make in a lifetime.
We say the same thing.
that's that's absolutely true.
Marry rich,
Yeah,
man.
that's what he said. You know.
Give me some Bezos problems. Give me some
So,
Gates
so,
problems. I'm all over it.
so I was about to say Mackenzie Bezos, like, what's up?
I really want to say what the other
Melinda
thing you told
Gates,
me was
holla at
is true,
Dottie.
but not,
I
that'd
feel
be a
like
bad
I
idea.
feel like that would be a bad idea. But yeah, okay. So my solution is I think we need to, outside of marrying rich, that there needs, like, we really need to look at the system and try and figure ways to increase the pay. I think making the rich and making corporations pay their fair share of taxes instead of giving them all of this money tax free. You know, that would definitely help, because then that way you're able to offset a lot of the money that people need from the taxes that really wealthy people and corporations
I don't just think
benefit
it's
from,
corporations, though.
or whatever. So I think that will help, will help, because there's no way that a that a Home Depot, like, corporation, Home Depot or Nike or any of these companies should not be paying taxes or whatever. They should absolutely be paying some level of taxes. If it's 27%, if it's 30%, if it's 37%, whatever it is, I don't care. They need to be paying taxes just like
I'm gonna
everyone
say,
else
like,
does.
I'm for everybody making money. Right? Like, if you could find a way to make a boatload of money in this world, like, good for you. Go do it. How can I help you? Right. So I'm about that. But a lot of what it comes down to is those essential jobs, or those jobs that are really crucial to our society and communities, like the ones I mentioned previously. Yeah, those are undervalued and underpaid. But the things that we as a country or as a society, the stuff we place value on, and the positions that get paid so much money that really, aren't essential. They don't move the needle. They don't change the world. It's just kind of really out of balance. Now, everybody has the opportunity to do those things. I mean, I'm not necessarily talking about being a professional athlete. Like, obviously we all know if I was 6'11" instead of 5'11", I'd be in the league. Like, we all can agree upon that, right? Obviously. But I'm talking about like I'm talking about like the
The
YouTubers
Justice
or the
League?
content makers or the influencers. Yeah, everybody has the same opportunity
You're
to
a
do that. But
superhero?
those are the type of things that get rewarded in our society more than the teachers that's actually educating our youth. And it's kind of out of balance. So, but I'm all for everybody going to grab your dollar. So go grab your dollar. Like, everybody live that life. Unless you're doing it through OnlyFans.
Okay, I'll take that.
Ah,
I
set you
support
off. I'm joking. I'm
OnlyFans.
joking.
Yes, sir. Yes,
I'm
sir.
I'm
You should
I'm
see my
fine.
monthly
I'm
bill.
fine with it.
See episode whatever what that was about that conversation. There you
I
go.
think I was episode 12. All right. Next thing we can talk about is the gas and chicken shortage that we're currently in.
The blackest
I'll
conversation we've
take
got to
that. And
have.
I'll tell you, first of all, gas and chicken shortage, both those things are false. Like, what causes this craziness is people's reaction to a situation, and it's crazy. I thought maybe it was just something that people were putting online, and I don't know if they were doctoring the video, but I literally saw people putting gas into 5-gallon buckets, and it blew my mind. There was a chance that if everybody just went about their normal fueling procedures or habits, we don't have these issues. But I was coming down the main artery here in Atlanta. There's gas stations on each side of the street, backed up to where traffic was backed up in both directions on the street. It's crazy. And then I pull into the gas station to grab me a Red Bull, and I see a guy putting $5 on the pump, because there's a gas shortage. I'm like, so he just had to get gas now. He wasn't even filling up. It was craziness. So there's no shortage. It's people's reaction to it. Just like when we get 2 inches of snow here in Atlanta and all the bread and milk is gone. just like the toilet paper. Let me tell you something about this toilet paper thing. I know we're talking about gas and chicken, but if you can't figure out a way to survive without something like toilet paper, you're already soft as boo boo. You know what I mean? It's not an absolute necessity in this world to where I can't function. You can figure it out. And the chicken shortage, I guess that's due to a lot of the processing plants that are being closed down or got disrupted due to COVID. Um, I don't know. Eat pork, eat vegetables. I don't know what to tell you. There's bigger things in this world. Are we really that soft as a country or as a society? Were we worried about chicken? Like, come on, man. I love wings.
Practice? We talking about
Yeah,
practice?
it's crazy,
We
man.
talking about chicken?
It blew my mind with these people pumping gas like this. People that I saw one lady. I swear, man, like she must have. She was sitting there having relatives or something just come to the pump and pull in like she was holding the pump. It was crazy, man. We saw.
I saw that. I saw that. I want to say it was like Exxon or Shell or something. Their Twitter account was like, just a message to the American public: don't pour gas into plastic bags. And we shouldn't have to say that, but here we are. And then I saw a video of people actually pumping gas into plastic bags, and I was like, oh my gosh, like this is
So here's what I did
crazy.
when the cyber hack or cyber attack was announced on the Colonial Pipeline, and everybody was like, "Oh, I'm gonna run out and get gas." Y'all ran out and doubled down on some Exxon stock. I was like, "Well, let me go ahead and cash in on this because anytime," and I hate to say, if the situation is going to occur, there are going to be people that are going to prosper and people that are going to fail. And I guess that guy pumping gas into that Dollar Tree plastic bag that now is all over his interior, the guy that failed, and I'm the one that prospered. I mean, change your mindset, people, for real.
But get gas too, because there's
I
definitely a
f-
shortage.
I filled up
Because
like I
there
normally
is no
filled up.
gas around. There's no gas around where I'm at, so that there must be some kind of shortage. Definitely get gas. But if you need gas, go to the hood where they normally do 5 on 10. They got gas down there. I'm telling you for sure, they got
But
gas.
there wouldn't be this craziness. Like the trucks aren't moving any differently. There was a halt. They had a reserve. The trucks are moving. It's people's reaction that caused the shortage. Just like with the toilet paper, man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely have seen folks filling up those big canisters, the ones that they use to like wash your car or whatever. Like I saw a guy filling up one, like actually filling up one of those or whatever. And what I would hope
Here it
is
comes.
that, and what I did see on TV was that now gas stations are limiting the amount of gas that they're rationing it, so you can only purchase a certain amount of gas at a time, or whatever. Because there were certain people that were going out there and
I tell
basically
you
just
what.
kind of hoarding it, just getting these big containers and filling them up with a couple hundred maybe 100 gallons of gas or something like that, versus the normal person that's getting between 5 and 10 gallons or
So
15
what
gallons or
happens
whatever it
when
is to fill up their
when these
tanks.
same people that had these huge pressure washer containers for water, I wouldn't get any mobile details soon because when your car paint starts peeling off and people are like, "Why is my paint peeling off?" Because that fool was filling that thing up with gas 2 weeks
It was
ago. That's
gas
exactly
in
what's going to happen. It's craziness.
Yep.
Well, I like the
Yep.
fact that people are,
Mhm.
it does sound crazy, right? Like this shouldn't be happening, right? But I'm also at that age where like you want to be responsible, you want to make sure you have it, you want to make sure you're able to get to work, you want to make sure you're able to get to your kids' games, you want to make sure you're able. So, I did fill up, when once I heard about it, went and filled up, made sure that, I wasn't going to have any problems. In addition to that, there's price gouging going on. So I've seen something as high as $9, whereas, normally the premium was like 320 or
Yeah,
whatever. Now I think I paid 390 for it yesterday. And then I had also got some early in the week. So, you want to avoid those things happening
yeah,
as well, right? So that's why people I think are doing that. So, I'm at that age where like, yeah, I want to be prepared. I don't go out as much. So I want to make sure I got the bread. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna go down my hill when it snows anymore because I'm gonna fall, and if I break my hip, I'm gonna be out of commission for two
So you got
months,
a
right? So I'm
basement
gonna
full
be
of canned foods and vegetables.
I just buy beer and frozen. I just buy beer. Really, when I go to the store, I just buy beer because I'll be good with
Yeah,
that,
no,
right?
for real. No, yeah, no, that's all good practice. I'm not talking about that. D. I'm talking about the containers and like, oh, well, I got a half a tank of gas, so let me go, fill up just in case something happens. Like just that normal people. Like, what happens when we really do go through like a catastrophe or emergency, something that's going to be critical, that's going to critically impact our day to day lives. Like I look at the people that I'm surrounded by, and like, what's going
Like
on?
COVID.
Well, a lot of that's so crazy because like I travel, like I drive like all over just for a variety of reasons, right? And there's a lot of people that just stay within their little area, their little 5 to 10 mile radius, right? And if you just stay within that 5 to 10 mile radius, like where I'm at now, you'd be screwed. Like they wouldn't even know where to go get gas. They wouldn't even be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go off of South Cobb to go get some gas." Or some people may not even think like that. They just know kind of what's
Yeah.
around them in their little small radius, and then once that's done, they're like, "Oh, we're screwed." Like there's another Kroger 20 miles away. You don't have to go to that one. So it's just crazy. It's how people operate,
I don't
man.
even get
But
the chicken shortage
uh,
either. Like,
I don't even know anything
yeah,
about
I mean,
that.
I went grocery shopping, grabbed my
Chicken,
pack of chicken wings, and did all that stuff. I mean, I don't. It's. But I tell you what, there's definitely people out there that are more concerned about the chicken than the gas. Like 100%, 100%. Somebody went
Absolutely,
and
they
bought a
are.
deep freezer from Lowe's or Home
Absolutely, they are.
Depot, and they got like 500 pounds of frozen chicken in their freezer right now. I mean, it's crazy.
cause some people are like, I don't even go out. I just DoorDash my food. We need to make sure they got some chicken.
Yeah, I don't know. It's craziness.
And I tell you the one of the more entertaining things I saw recently though is that Chick-fil-A is now starting to ration out their sauces because they're coming up on a sauce shortage as well. And I'm like, if Chick-fil-A is coming up with a sauce
Real
shortage,
talk.
that's a
We
real
were there
thing.
today. I
Like,
went to Chick-fil-A during the break in the games. I went through. The lady, I
yep.
ordered like $50 worth of food for everybody. The lady was like, "Well, how many sauces do you want?" I emptied the food bag and said, "Fill this bag." And she was like, "Well, how many?" I was like, "How many can you get in there?" And she was like, "I can't do that, sir." And I was like, "No, you're supposed to say my pleasure. That's what you're supposed to say." And I was like, "I'm messing with you. I'll take two." But yeah, it's crazy. I didn't know that was a thing. I looked at my brother-in-law. I was like, now they asking me how many sauces. Like, just throw some sauces in the bag. But it's crazy. But I love Chick-fil-A. I tell you what, man, they were so efficient. I know we're not talking about this, but I'm gonna shout them out. I drove to Chick-fil-A. Line was wrapped around the building. Drove 4 miles there, 4 miles back. Stood in the line 18 minutes. It was amazing. Like they got me. I mean, it was amazing. Yeah.
You say they're efficient, but they are the actually slowest rated drive-through
Not
of all the
possible. I've been in a
drive-throughs.
Popeyes drive-through.
Promise
No way.
So their time is definitely
The time for what?
slower than
you. If they have more people,
their
probably
time
they're slower.
from order to order completion or whatever. But it's based off of an average. Their drive-throughs, they have
I
way
went
more
to
people in their
Chipotle the other
drive-throughs
day,
than
ordered
everybody else
mobile
does. Most.
online, and still waited an hour. It's crazy. Could have drove to Mexico. But anyway, we're talking about gas and chicken.
On the
I'm just
Concorde.
saying.
He's
Took
part
a
of the
long time.
Justice League. Remember, he would have been in the league.
People use your senses. Don't go out there filling gas in containers and buying up all the chicken. I got a cookout coming up. Real talk.
Right.
A vaccinated
But
cookout.
but
You gotta
but but
show your
one of the
card.
You better be vaccinated. You
one of
come to
the one of the
9-7
other
Sable Green. For real.
hey,
Yeah.
I'm gonna bleep that out. We're not gonna put your address out there.
Once they know your name, they
Um,
can look up your address, right?
I'm just, I don't care. I'm still not putting it out there.
Check it out.
Um, but yeah. So Eric, cut that part right there. Um, and then but the other thing about the actual the gas shortage though is the company Colonial Pipeline was actually hacked. And Brandon and I actually had this conversation at his daughter's softball games. So they were hacked, and what was the price they
75
gave
Bitcoins,
they gave the
approximately
hackers?
$5 million in crypto.
Right. So about $5 million worth of crypto for that. They shut down uh, billions of dollars or whatever. Now, as someone who had contracts with Colonial Pipeline, what I'll say is they've got bajillions of dollars. Like, everybody already knows that they're one of the largest pipelines on the eastern seaboard or whatever, from New Jersey all the way down to Texas, is where their pipelines go or whatever. So the whole eastern seaboard and part of Texas is where all of their oil goes or whatever. And for them to get shut down and get hacked, boy, their cybersecurity person, I'm sure, is still getting fired. They're still in the process of continuing to fire this person. I don't know them, and never met them. So full disclosure there. But good grief, like they did that for $5 million. Imagine what they would have did for 10. Like, that is unbelievable, and an unbelievable amount of damage. The United States definitely has to start taking cybersecurity. Corporations have to take cybersecurity a lot more seriously, because these DDoS attacks or whatever are ridiculous, and there's no way that they should be being held for ransom or whatever for simple cybersecurity issues
Kind of makes me
or
have the
whatever.
friend of that
So,
kid in the corner of the
good
classroom
grief.
hitting the keyboard all the time. It's probably one of those guys. I'm hanging out with you guys, and I should have been hanging out with,
Right.
though Eli.
Facts. Tom, remember Tom?
Big fact.
Tom's Pools.
Gosh, you guys got to stop using people's names.
We just gave him a plug, man. We just gave his
Um,
business a
Oh,
plug,
man,
man.
Tom's Pools.
These are all good people, man. We know what the deal
Oh,
is. So that's a good segue
right.
into Bitcoins, right? Cryptocurrency.
I was literally about to say that. Look at that.
Crypto,
We
right?
right
I
there,
think
Donnie.
my boy Elon Musk is, his thing on Saturday Night Live. I had posted something before that where he was saying he started off Dogecoin as a joke, right? And so, by the way, I've started Blackcoin. It's for African Americans. You want to get on board with Blackcoin? It's my crypto that I started. I'll tell you how to buy it. It'll be the link. It'll be in the bio, right?
What's the technology behind it? Do you use like a
Hey man, you asking too many
Crayola
questions, bro.
marker? You
Here
color
we go. Here we go.
some
Hey,
white.
Michael Chase said it's a hustle. So anyway, which we should be really good at. But anyway, so I thought it was interesting that he said it started off as a joke, and I did think the SNL skit that they did where they were like, "What is Dogecoin?" And he just kept talking and talking. And he's like, "But what is it?" And he just was like, "It is cryptocurrency. It is the wave of the future." And it's like, "But what is it?" And so I'm kind of right there with the whole "What is it?" There's 14% of Americans that own cryptocurrency. Right now, it really seems like it's just a stock or something that you buy, and then once you sell it, you get some money, but you really can't use it for anything. And if you do use it, or maybe I did see where you can use it, you get taxed like 36 or something, some crazy percent, or it's like double different or something. So, will I invest it to make some money? Absolutely. Am I like going crazy about it? Absolutely not. Go ahead, Bitcoin.
My thought.
Eat me up. Let's go. Come on, Bitcoin. I see you chopping. Let's go.
Not ready. Oh
Nah, bro,
no,
I'm
it's
gonna
one of
let you
those
go.
things where it's like I think there's opportunity in it. I think that personally, if you invest in your stock portfolio, um, I would think it to be prudent or wise to have a certain percentage of your portfolio in crypto. I'm not saying anything crazy. You might want to, pull from your 401k and go all crypto and see if you can hit it big, or you might just want to say, I'm gonna make sure 5 to 10% of my portfolio is in crypto because there's money to be made off of it. Um, I tell you what, in general, in my life, when people go left, I go right, right. Like I'm not one of the dudes to follow the masses per se. But at the same time, if I see that there's a dollar to be made somewhere, if I can turn 15 cents into a dollar, I'm gonna do it. So that's
So you got OnlyFans. That's what I just heard.
that's hilarious.
Tricky,
Yeah,
tricky.
I'm gonna put his OnlyFans right here.
yeah,
Put his
you
OnlyFans
got
link right
see
there.
those. But yeah. So I mean, I don't know. I don't think you should go crazy. I know some people that lost a lot because they really didn't understand it, and they threw more money than they could stand to lose into it, and then it's so volatile. It goes down. They lose their minds, And I'm like, man, don't get excited one way or the other. I literally put it in there and forget about it, and we'll see what happens after a certain period of
So
time.
Yeah.
before E eats me alive, let me just say, like I think with all things, you have to know what you're doing and what you're getting into it, and then you have to believe in it, right? And so I'm not a huge financial person, right? I just know that there's money that in Africa they have their own currency. The people in Ireland have their own currency. The people in US have their own currency, right? And they're all different, right? And then
And then there's
some
black
of
coin.
them are worth some of them are worth more than others, right? So it doesn't seem like and the crypto seems to be something that's trying to say they're all equal across the board and you can use this wherever. I don't know enough about it, but I do pay attention to the fact that the guy that started said he started as a joke. I think that that cannot be underestimated as well. And so when you say, can you make money off of it? People are making money off of it, but at the end of the day, like what really is it and what are you doing with it? So if you're putting it in there in the stock market and it makes money on the stock market, you're making money, right? But I don't know what the taxes are on it. There's just a lot of I don't knows on it. But the guy that started Dogecoin said he started as a joke, and Black coin is not a joke. So BLKCOIN. Chip. You laugh now, my friend. All that money you made off Bitcoin, you laugh now. When we racing Lamborghinis, don't say nothing.
Okay, what I'll say is cryptocurrencies are basically ways to at this point there's different ways to look at it. Blockchain itself is a technology, right? And most of these cryptos are based off of blockchain, blockchain technology. That's just like saying that the web is the same thing about the internet. Like nobody really knows
Al
what
Gore.
the internet is. They know what they can do with. They know what they can do with the internet most of the time. They don't understand, all of the languages and things like that, but they understand that they can do things with it. And right now, with Bitcoin, with Dogecoin, with all of the other 1,000+ altcoins that are out there, people don't understand what they can do with them. What they can do with them. Elon Musk and Tesla recently said that you could start to purchase Teslas with Bitcoin.
Bitcoin or Dogecoin or crypto.
And with Bitcoin, Dogecoin is a different coin, and crypto is the classification that all of those fall into. All those alternate coins fall into the classification of cryptocurrency or whatever. So as opposed to fiat money, which is paper money, right? So fiat money is dollars and things like that. It's all of the yen and all of them, all of the money all over the all of the different money that's all over the world. So all of the people that are doing the forex trading, foreign exchange trading, all of those are the all of those are all fiat money or whatever. They're based off of something, whether it's the price of gold or whatever, right? So those are basically two different classifications of money, right, or of currency actually. So past that, I think that Elon Musk, prior to his Saturday Night Live performance, actually made a pretty interesting description and distinction between between Bitcoin and Dogecoin. So Bitcoin, he said, was the coin that would be used. There's a finite amount of Bitcoin that's actually able to be mined by these Bitcoin miners. So there's a finite amount, 350 million or something like that. I think 250 million of them have already been discovered. So that's why the price for the coins for each one of those individual coins is so high, because there's a finite amount of them. They then become an asset. They continue to accrue value, right? So whereas Dogecoin, he said, will be the common person's coin, and that'll be akin to a dollar. That's akin to a dollar. So when you say that it's akin to a dollar, what he's really saying is that there's an infinite amount of Dogecoins that can be mined, found, and used, very much like a typical U.S. dollar. So when you look at those things, a dollar is not going to go up in value or whatever, because it's something that'll be used, something that'll be discarded, and then new ones will be minted and used again at that same value. So that those are the distinctions there between those. So when you look at the craziness that's happened, it's, when I started investing in Bitcoin, Bitcoin was $7,000 or $8,000 or whatever. So I was buying coins in that level or whatever. Then it went up to 17, 18, 19, 20,000. And I was like, oh wow, like I got, I actually made some, pretty decent money off of that. And then it started to drop. It dropped down back down to 8 or 10,000. Tons of people jumped out of it and then said, when it hit 17, 18,000, it was in the arena where everybody was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And everybody was jumping in on it. Well, then once it had a pullback, everybody was like, oh my gosh, like, you had so many people jump out of it, people that are casual investors, and they jumped out of it because they don't understand it. And the problem is when you start investing in things that you don't understand, everything that happens around you spooks you. Anytime something moves, it spooks you or whatever. So people start to look at it and they watch Bitcoin the way that day traders watch the stock market, and they're completely different. And when you're a casual investor, you have to be really, really careful, because you can lose money really quickly. And I think Brandon mentioned a little bit earlier that he buys some of the cryptocurrencies and then just kind of puts it to the side and forgets about it. That's, in my opinion, that's the best way to go about it. That's the approach that I've taken with investing in those. I'll purchase coins, whatever they are, whichever ones I deem are ones I would want to invest in. I invest in those, and then I don't look at them or whatever. And I try to turn off all the news and everything, because I'm not trying to make money on them every single day. I'm not a day trader in those coins. What I am is someone who's investing in them, buying them as an asset. And when I buy an asset, I'm just going to push it off to the side. And periodically I'll check, once a year or once a quarter or something like that, to see. You're only taxed on those things when you sell them. Like any other asset, you're taxed on them when you sell them. So you have to be careful with all of the buying and selling. But pretty soon, like I'll be investing in a Bitcoin ATM in the next probably 2 months.
What's going to come out of it?
Or whatever, but actual cash will come out of it. But people can put money in and purchase coins and things like
Even
that.
black coin?
I just bought 2 million shares of black coin on Robinhood, so I'm gonna be rich.
Hey, hold on, my guy. Hold on, my guy.
It's totally true.
Not true.
See?
Hey, let's go, black coin.
I love it.
Looks like it comes with.
I love it.
So, to break the,
But
and what I heard was wah, right? That's no disrespect to you. I don't. It's just not my thing, right? So I was, so it says that 21.2 million Americans, or 14% of the U.S. population, own Bitcoin. The average age is 44, and the average annual salaries are around 107,000. And 63% of adults who have it are crypto curious, right? And so that's why you see it going back and forth. And then one of the things the other article I was looking at talked about how, like, you're right, when you take the money out, you get taxed on it. But then if it's added to your income or something like that, which then could send you to the next tax bracket. So it's talking about somebody was, they had X amount of money, they were at 12% tax bracket, then they cashed in some coins, and it took them to the next tax bracket. They ended up being taxed 22%, which then kind of changed the game. So there's a lot of things that kind of go along with that. Can you make money? Absolutely, but you got to be sure on what you're doing.
There
So
you
yeah.
go.
Yeah, you definitely have to contact a tax professional. I mean, and you should with any asset that you're purchasing and any asset that you decide to sell. You should definitely consult someone who actually knows what they're doing and not just go throwing money around and buying and selling stuff crazy or whatever. That's a surefire way to run afoul the IRS. That's a surefire way to lose a whole bunch of money. That's you might as well go to Vegas and throw down a whole bunch of money
Blind money
on a game
can't
that you don't
find
know
Or
how to
my
money.
play.
OnlyFans.
Blind money can't
Same
find
thing.
money. Don't just throw it out there.
Yeah. So
Right.
black coins, all good.
Hey man, so
So,
why
so
does it come
just
with
because you say
Popeye
it is not.
coupons though?
Oh,
What
you,
what?
you know why?
Wow. Wow. Wow.
Joke. It's
You
jokes.
know why?
Okay. All right.
It's jokes.
And then that just happened.
Yeah.
And then that happened.
Hey, what you have for dinner tonight? E?
Yeah. Chicken fingers.
Oh, man.
Chicken marsal.
A, they were
They were so
Asian
good, man.
fried chicken
They were very
spears is
good.
what they were. Panko chicken,
Poncho.
baby. Go get some.
And black coin. You can
Uh,
buy anything. Brandon's OnlyFans and my
Hear
and
me
black
out.
coin.
Officially sponsored by Blackcorn and Popeye.
not not that
Yo,
that
flash that
that's
on the
not that
screen.
didn't happen.
Flash that across the
That didn't
screen.
happen at all. I'm
Hey,
I
not
thought
putting that on there.
we're not.
I'm not gonna
literally.
put that
What
on
you
there.
gonna? I thought we was gonna we were supposed to be holding each other down. What? So only Elon Musk can make money? What? Come on, man.
He didn't start
Now I tell you what,
all
though.
the
He started
cryptos.
Dogecoin in 2013 as a joke. Here we are, 2021, talking about black coin.
Well,
And that's what we're doing. We're talking about black
he
coin.
Next
hundred
show,
Okay.
percent
black
though
coin.
has influence over what happens in crypto over the course of the last 3 to 4 months though. So he legit can say, well, you know what? Let me
Easily.
pump it.
He definitely has.
Let me crap one. Let it dip. So let me buy some. I'm not saying he does do this, but he said, well, let me pump it up. Let me put out a tweet about it and let it rise up like that. That's actually the scary thing about it, you know.
He bought Bitcoin and then turns around and put money in Bitcoin, which helps drive the price
Well,
up, right? And then he goes around and says you can use Bitcoin to buy my car. So he basically
well,
is just making more
technically,
money.
he's never bought Bitcoin. He said he doesn't own any share, any coins. He buys it through companies that he's attached to buy, but he personally doesn't have any Bitcoin, which is
He did say that. And most recently, he said that they were not going to allow that they weren't going to allow people to purchase
when Bitcoin
Teslas
goes from
with
60 to
Bitcoin
40,000.
because of the impact on the environment, the
But that
possible
changed today
impact
or
on the
something, right?
environment.
Real recent.
Yeah, it was either
Yeah.
yesterday.
So all
Yeah.
good, man.
It feels to me like he is just trying to see how fast he can yank a yo-yo back and forth, and seeing what he can do to manipulate things or whatever.
What
And
else does one of the richest
hopefully,
men in the world do for fun?
someone
Like, yeah, find.
right. I mean, he's one of the richest men in the world, and this dude is not even Batman yet. or whatever. And I'm like, dude, like there's so much more you could be doing. You could be Batman, but instead
You
you're
don't think he
being
has
this
like a
this
Batman
weirdo.
type Tesla in the cave of his mansion? He sold most of his assets. I don't think he has those mansions anymore. He sold off like a lot of his toys. So
Yeah, yeah.
I think
I'm sure he's
I
got a
think
whole
the
bunch
alien.
more. He named his kid he named his kid something
Does he have
crazy
a wife?
too. I don't even know how to pronounce it. I don't know. I
Oh,
think so. Yeah,
oh.
he does. Or it seemed like you were possibly auditioning. Like, what was that? What was
Did we
that
say
about?
Mary? Did we say at the
Anyway,
beginning of the show, Mary? Rich? What the hell are you talking about, man?
and
These are just jokes, man. Just jokes.
we're sponsored by LGBTQ or whatever. Donovan, we support you. I didn't mean to out you. My
Wow,
bad.
wow,
Um, sorry about
wow,
that. So,
wow.
uh, say
I got in trouble about a chicken joke.
say something.
Jeez.
I don't understand.
I don't even know what
Just
you're talking
happened.
about. I thought you were trying to
No, I
date
was wondering if
Elon
he had a
Musk.
wife,
That's
just
all.
because, like, we've seen Bill Gates fall, we've seen Bezos fall. It's like, see the next great man to fall from
What's
the,
next?
with the wife. That's where I was going, but it did not go that way. But it's all good.
Hey,
I don't know. I don't
no
know.
script. There's no script. There's no
Maybe
script.
maybe there
It's
should be one. I
unscripted.
don't know.
Yeah,
But
let's
anyway,
wrap it. We're going on like an hour here.
yeah.
It's 56 minutes and 28 seconds
Um,
right now. Boom. What I was about to say is you
like,
guys
oh,
say something smart at the
yeah,
end.
yeah. We all have the same 5 problems.
Be
Got it.
kind, help others, make a difference.
Like, subscribe, comment, turn on post notifications. Don't text me. Don't call me. Comment on the post. Comment on the story. Comment on the video.
I hate
Don't comment on Facebook. Comment here. Like, just do that. Please. Thank you. Hear Me Out, Volume 16
volume
or Episode
16.
16 is out. We done.
We got books.
Volume
Books of
16.
this.
Woo!